All right, so my first demonstration is going to be how to do 2x plus 4 equals 8, okay? These are going to be my x's. I've got positive x and negative x. These are going to be my 1's. Negative 1, positive 1, negative 1, positive 1, okay? So 2x. So that means we need, in this box, on this side of the equal sign, right, we have 2 x's, positive, and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 1's. 2x plus 4. And on the other side, we've got 8 positives. 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? That's the setup of my equation. Now, to solve my equation, I want to end up with understanding exactly what x, a single x, is equal to. So, first of all, I need to get rid of these 1's. The way I get rid of 1's is I pop a negative on top of each one, okay? If I have a negative on top of it, it's negative 1 and positive 1, that equals 0, right? But I have to be careful. Whatever I do to one side of the equation, I have to do the other. So as I do these 4 here, I have to do 4 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So notice that I've created some 0 pairs. 0 pairs, we wipe off the board. They're not worth anything. They can go away now. This is what I'm left with. I'm left with 4 yellows over here. These are positive 1's. These are positive x's. Now, the division part is where things get a little bit tricky sometimes. So what I like to do is just slide these like this and like this, and then sort of count off and group these. All right, 1 to 1 looks like an x, looks like it's equal to a pile of 2. So I can divide. I can take away half of this pile, which is an x, and I can take away half of this pile, which is 2 1's. And now I have x equals 2. And that's the solution to my equation. All right, we're back again. This time we have a new equation with some different things going on. We've got a negative x and we have a negative 2. So we're going to see how these negatives work. All right. First, I've got to set up this side of my equation. Notice the equal sign. Everything on this side has to go over here. So I've got this x, but I want the negative x, so I put the red side up, negative x. And then I've got 3 positives. It's plus 3, so 1, 2, 3 positives. And then over here, I've got negative 2, so 2 reds. Those are negatives, right? Okay. Now, same thing as before, I'm trying to figure out what a single x looks like. I don't want to know what the negative x is, really. I want to know what the positive x is, but figuring out the negative x will help us. So just like before, we're going to get rid of everything that's not an x. All right? So we've got these 3 here. We're going to get rid of those. The way to do that, of course, is to add negatives on top of them. We pop those reds right on top. That makes these 0 pairs. But remember, the same thing we do to this side, we must do to this side. So we have to add some reds over here, and there's no yellows to put them on top of. So we just have to add them over here. We got some negatives. So our pile of negatives has now gotten a little bit bigger. And these are 0 pairs. We can take care of them. They go away. Now what I have is I have negative x equals negative 5. Well, that's weird. Well, it turns out there's this cool trick we can do when we multiply by negative 1 or divide by negative 1. We can change both sides of the equation to reverse their signs. So we can take this and just flip it over, as long as we flip everything on this side over as well. Very weird little trick that happens. But now, look, we've got x equals 5 positive. That's our answer. All right, and now for our third example. Now this one looks wild and crazy. Negative 3x minus 6 equals 3. How can negatives all over here equal a positive 3 over here? It seems confusing. But if we just break it down and follow the same rules as before, we're going to find that it's not that hard. So we look over here in our x pile, and it looks like we have negative 3 x's. So that means a negative x, a negative x, and a negative x. There's negative 3 x's. Okay? Then we've also got minus 6. Now this can be confusing because it's a 6, so you want to say those are going to be yellows, but it's a minus 6, so it's really negative 6. Okay? Anytime you're subtracting a positive, it's the same thing as having a negative. So we get minus 6. And over here, you guessed it, we've got 3 yellows. It certainly doesn't look like this could possibly measure up to this, but we're going to find out that it will depending on what these things are. So let's take it apart. Let's see. First of all, if I've got all these extra negatives over here, that means I don't have x's by themselves. So let's take care of those first. We have to, in order to get rid of those, of course, add some yellows on top. We pop those on top. Remember, as I'm adding them, I should be doing the same thing to the other side. So 2, 2. Okay. 2, 2. And 2, 2. So really what I've done is I've added 6 to this side, and I've added 6 to this side. So 9 is 6, then we add the 6, that makes those go away. These are my 0 pairs, now they disappear. And a funny thing happened over here. Now instead of 3, well now I've got 9, and this is interesting because that sort of looks like, oh, this makes a lot more sense. There's a lot more over here now to measure up with that. So now we've got to figure out, okay, we could flip now if we wanted. We could make everything the reverse sign now, but I think we'd be better off sort of doing the division first. Let's group these. We've got 3 negative x's, and so we want to know what each negative x will be equal to. So I'll just kind of take this pile and split it up 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So it looks like a negative x is equivalent to 3 of these. So if we divide, 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 we can just kind of take, those are equal, so we can take those away from both sides, and these are equal, so we can take them away from both sides. So here we go. We've got a negative x equals a positive 3, but I don't want to know what a negative x is. I want to know what a positive x is. Remember, we can do this trick. I can flip this over and change its sign as long as I do the same thing to everything on the other side. And there we have our answer. X equals negative 3.